Now just have a look at this wonderful Foden steam lorry. Now hello sir. My goodness, your pride in this is really quite something. This is wonderful. Tell us what's going on here.
This is a 6-inch Foden C-type built from the Steam Traction World kit. Finished it in 2020, but it first came out to this rally just before the pandemic, so it's kind of been here since I started with it.
Yes, well, wonderful. And this fits into the steam story towards the end. The steam lorry was technology rather at the end of the steam story, and actually their downfall was actually the Department of Transport rather than any practical application. To build one of these, just give us a bit of an insight into what has gone into physically producing that.
So as I say, this one's come from a kit form rather than a machine from scratch, so most of the parts that come CNC machine, they're ready to go, but there's a lot of fitting, a lot of setting up, making sure it works before you start assembling.
Fine tuning, well, it is a real joy to see. I mean, it's a credit to you, sir, so well done. The presentation is just astonishing. Thank you very much. Hello, you two. How old are you?
I'm 11. I'm 8.
Now, I saw you driving. I don't know how many hundred rules we must have broken with you guys, but this is wonderful. Tell me what we've got here.
So, we've got a McLaren. It is compound.
Now, compound refers to the fact that the steam is recycled. So we have high pressure, low volume, and then we have low pressure, high volume. And that is really a way of recycling the energy from the coal, because we tend to forget these days that we're talking about some wonderful thing at a show, but in fact, in the day, these were commercial vehicles, commercial machines. So if you could get half as much power out of a ton of coal as a non-compound, that was a huge competitive advantage. Now, tell me, do you know when this was made?
No.
Which man? With the cap on? That man. Hello, sir. Now, your two apprentices here who are on good form, we wondered how old that was, that engine.
So that was built in 2002 by a gentleman in Scunthorpe called John something. I don't know his second name, I'm afraid, but yeah, he was a very competent engineer. A lot of it's built from scratch rather than from castings. Yeah.
Incredible, and my goodness, you've got two apprentices here. They're as keen as mustard, aren't they? They're really into it. So well done, you two boys. Thank you for driving for us today. That's wonderful. Now, sir, what have we got here?
So we've got yet another 4-inch bit McLaren, the 10-horse design, which is what you commonly see in the miniature form. That's what the main castings are supplied as, yeah.
Well, again, the intricacies, the whole of the, straight away, as soon as you see that, you know exactly what's going on, don't you? Because the whole thing is all about this faithfulness to the original. Absolutely amazing to see. Of course, from a logistic point of view, although there's still some tons, it's so much easier to move about, so much easier to transport. So have you come very far, sir?
Not too far, so the engines that come from Rochdale where they're kept, and like you say, you don't need a big low loader and a whole load of faffing around to get them. We've got a nice Williams box trailer, they go in the back at the end of the day, park them in the back of the garage, job done until you're out again the next weekend.
Wonderful, and I mean, you guys, you're such supporters of these local shows. Always astonishes me. Everywhere I go, there seems to be a dozen, and then sometimes 2 or 3 dozen. It's wonderful to see. Just give us a bit of an insight. We're parading today at Hong Kong. So when do you need to light up?
So sensibly about 10 o'clock. Yeah. We can probably get one of these in half an hour because they're so small when you bring it in, because
very much, boys. Great to see you guys here and involved as well as Dan. Good for you. They looked absolutely at home on there, didn't they? Wonderful. Well done you. Thank you so much, sir. Hello, sir. Now, what have we got here?
Point steamroller Burrell.
Yeah, again, such a famous name, that Burrell name. They were it was synonymous with steam, wasn't it? So the application of this in full size will be very much a road roller, construction work, that sort of thing. And that was an incredibly important part of the whole steam story, because really the steam roller tended to be made as a roller and stay as a roller. When did you create this, sir? Because this is just wonderful.
I cheated and bought it.
Well done you. Well, I have to say that would be where I come from. So the hard work was right in the checkout.
And it is a steam traction wheel kit, so you can buy these anyway.
Well, it's a lovely, lovely thing, and you must be proud of it.
Yeah, it's great colour. Love it.
Well, good for you, and because of your enthusiasm, your commitment, we get to see them. So fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. I think the Foden steam lorry, was it probably the most popular of all the steam lorries?
May well be, I don't know. Certainly it's popular with the bottom makers, yes.
So what's going on here, sir?
6-inch scale Foden steam lorry, which I built from a steam traction world kit. Took me about 5 years to build it. Oh, sorry, 3 years. And I've rallied it for 5 years. So
Fantastic. And it is the enthusiasm that you guys have. It is amazing, isn't it? As a group of people, it must be lovely to be part of that enthusiasm.
well, it certainly is. We've been doing it much of our lives, building these and running them, yes.
Well done you, and because of your enthusiasm, we get to see them, and that is a wonderful part. A sort of win-win, isn't it, if you know what I mean? Wonderful, thank you very much. Now, moving on. Hello, sir. Now, I'm not going to annoy you by discussing the cost of coal, because that is a horror story all on its own. What have we got here, sir? Again, such a name to conjure with. They were a wonderful firm, John Fowler of Leeds, an absolute cornerstone of the whole steam story. They invented the concept of the steam plough, which again, yeah, look at that, just look at that, right on cue. I know a story about that, we'll come to that in a minute. Is this something you made, sir? Yes. I mean, that must be a lovely feeling to be able to stand back and say, I did that. Absolutely. Well done you. I mean, I'm very envious of all you guys, but I'm not envious of the hard work and the skill, because they don't just sort of glue together, do they? No. Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Now, my goodness, Devonshire. Who's responsible for Devonshire? Hello, sir. I know it always feels like you're being ambushed. It's not meant to be like that. Now, this is inherently, of all the engines here, this is quite a big one. So tell us a bit about the scale and what this copied.
So this is a 6-inch Burrell Devonshire. It's 51-year-old, and there was 6 castings made, 5 built, and now there's only 4 left.
Really? I mean, in miniature steam, 51 years, that is quite an age, isn't it? That must have been very much at the beginning of miniature steam.
Yeah, it's extremely well built.
So let's just be absolutely right. This is a 6-inch scale, but of quite a big engine. Its original was a big engine.
So there is a full-size one here.
Well, it makes a very impressive beast indeed. It is lovely to see. And frankly, I'm amazed at that age.
I know,
it's quite unusual. Well done you, sir, because that is an impressive beast. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Thank you.
Yeah, really good. Bit of sunshine, some steam engines. I'm away. I'm in heaven. So what have we got here?
We've got 4-inch scale Garrett agricultural engine.
Now, just to put this in context, in its full size, this would be sort of probably a contractor's machine. He would go around farms, etc. in the autumn, thrashing corn, then perhaps into a quarry or a sawmill or something. So they were a machine that was used and used and used. It's amazing, that life story with them. Is this something you built, sir?
It came to me in 2018 in a pile of bits.
Well, you've done well, because some of these people, it seems to be 8 and 10 years to get them together, so you've done well.
It's been a lot of work.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for being here this weekend. Lovely to see. Thank you, sir. Hello, sir. Now, what have we got here? Not mine. Oh, not one. Which one's yours? Oh, we've done you. Sorry. Hello, gentlemen. Now, if I owned this, I would be so proud of it. You wouldn't need somebody talking about it. No, I think it's wonderful. Well, I know the whole thing about keeping them clean is a huge issue. Do you delegate that, do you? Well, it's great to see, and it's a great credit to you, whoever's got it in this condition. It is wonderful. Tell us a bit about what we've got here.
It's a 4-inch McLaren. I brought it in 2019. I converted it to Showman's last year. I converted it back to the road motor this year.
Well, it looks a very impressive piece. Actually, that's part of your story there about, it does demonstrate how, in full size, how adaptable they were. They would change sometimes throughout the year. Some of them would be a roller in the summer, traction engine in the winter. So although it sits here very much as a transport.
Imagine having a car with steam and imagine it, and it's dead.
Heavy haulage in full size.
Fab, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it would be,
Seen that one
Have
before,
you
haven't
come
we?
very far, sir? Whereabouts are you based?
Windsor.
So
Just keep coming, guys.
Sorry, I'm not a local boy, so yes, not too bad then. Well, great to see you. Got the family mascot here as well, I can see. Wonderful. Thank you, sir. It's great to see. Now, hello, gentlemen. What have we got here?
4-inch scale bottle. Steam traction wheel. 3 years old.
Now, of course, Burrell, a real name to conjure with, very heavily involved in agricultural engines. This is, what scale are we talking about?
4-inch scale.
Yeah, 4-inch. So again, this was a fairly serious engine, the original. Great to see. Thank you very much for bringing it, sir. Now, last but not least, hello, sir. What have we got here?
16 scale Tasker A2 speed tractor.
Tasker, of course, from down in, I think it was Hampshire or Wiltshire originally. Yes, Hampshire. They were very heavily into agricultural engines again. Now, is this something you have built, sir?
Yeah, it was finished in 2009.
Wonderful. Well, as I said earlier, that lovely feeling when you stand back and say, do you know what, I did that. That is a great feeling, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is.
And how many shows do you reckon to go to a year?
We do about 12.
I mean, that's an amazing commitment in itself, isn't it? I'm always amazed by the enthusiasm that you guys have, because it's a wonderful part of the show, the miniature steam. Thank you very much for being here this weekend. Wonderful. Now, my goodness, look at that for a display of miniature steam, ladies and gentlemen. Really wonderful to see. So enthusiastic, these guys. In a few minutes, we're hoping that we'll be able to offer the opportunity to have a surprise on the miniature steam. So, just going to do the full-size steam, and then we are into our miniature steam rides, and we invite all of you, the general public to come in the ring. Who's the expert here amongst you lot? Not you. Go on, tell us what it is.
The 1927 Smallwood steamroller.
Absolutely wonderful. Do you know much about the history of it? Do you know where it started, like that sort of thing?
Yes, it's back around 2004.
Amazing. I mean, it fascinates me that the whole of the steam story revolves around early 1900s. We get up into the 1950s, and then all of these engines were sort of on a knife edge. Some of them fell one side and they just had an afternoon out in the scrapyard, and others fell into preservation. And it's a fascinating fact that without some very clever and far-sighted people, none of these engines would have survived. So is this in your family?
My own steamroller.
Fantastic. So you were being a bit modest when you said you didn't know anything about it. Yeah. Well, hats off to you, because my goodness, you must be very proud of this.
Very proud, yes.
And have you had to come far?
About 12 miles.
Did you road here or did you well, fantastic. So 5 miles an hour?
Yeah, something like that, 5 6.
Well, how cool is that? That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that insight. You're being far too modest. Right. Now, hello sir. Just a very brief outline. What have we got here?
It's an Evelyn Porter steamroller lake, isn't it?
Now, Aveling and Porter, of course, were very famous for, they tended to specialise in this sort of thing. Age-wise, what are we talking about?
Well, it's on the plaque next to you.
Yes, full marks for observation there. 1916, so we're right in the middle of the First World War. Do you know much about the history of it?
Not really. The owner's buggered off somewhere.
That's a technical term for those of you who don't know. He's hiding. But anyway, well look, how good is it of you? Because without you guys, we just don't get to see them. So wonderful. Thank you very much for bringing it this weekend. Are you enjoying the weekend?
It's nice and sunny.
Absolutely. Well, you said it all there. Thank you.
I think there's more than ever, you know, isn't there? I tell you what, it's just fab to see how long I haven't seen him for so long.
Hello
and my uncle loved him, you know, and my granddad, and it's just...
You're a great chap for
You can
telling us
understand
a
why.
wonderful story about this. Is a fabulous, fabulous engine because it's part of the pair. Just tell us and shows you how fickle, how extraordinary it was that some engines survived and some didn't. So sir, tell us your story.
Yeah, so this is a 1916 PV ploughing engine, which would work in pairs to plough and cultivate fields. This is the only survivor, unfortunately. Its sister got cut up in the working days. There was a bit of an accident which happened, and they called the scrapman just to come in and put it up in the field because it was much cheaper than repairing it at the time, which is very sad. But yeah, it means that this is the sole survivor out of the pair.
I mean, that is an extraordinary story and does demonstrate at the time they were just regarded as so much iron, you know, and that, of course, with hindsight, we all know, well, that wasn't a very clever thing to do, but on the day, they were essentially at the end of their working life and they just got weighed in. So how fortunate are we, really, that this one survived? Because at least in name, if nothing else, we have got an example of the sister. Thank you so much for that, wonderful. Wallace and Stevens next. She's going to run away. Aren't you the expert? Tell me what it is.
Wallace and Stevens Staples Agricultural.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my goodness, that has a real presence, doesn't it? The size of it. Weight-wise, I suspect we're sort of 12, 15 tons, something like that.
10 and 12, we think.
Yes, amazing. My goodness, who has to do the polishing?
Well, mainly me.
Oh, well done. Well, bless you, and hats off to you guys, because I think even the biggest fan of steam engines would have to admit they are some messy blooming things. Well, presentation is everything, and my goodness, you've achieved that. Well done, you. Thank you. Now, hello, sir. We were just talking about presentation, and my goodness, we have it by the wheelbarrow full here. This is fantastic. How on earth do you get this engine presented in such a wonderful state?
This young lad's quite good at cleaning.
You need to be very proud of yourselves, because just look at this. This is a form of art. It sounds a funny thing to say, and I expect you guys, you sort of take it for granted, but I know the time and trouble and effort that goes into getting them to this fantastic standard. Just tell us a little bit about this engine, sir.
So it's an Avon and Porter steam tractor built in 1923, new to AM Carmichael and Dunblane. It was used for stone haulage and was used to build the road that runs alongside Loch Ness. In 1931 it fell into the loch and it was in the loch for 60 years. It was then rescued by the bloke who had it before me, which he sort of rescued it and didn't do a lot. And then I bought all the remains and sort of built it to what you see today.
Well, how fantastic, and what a story. Did it fall or was it pushed? Yeah, we're not going to go there. But my goodness, your commitment, your enthusiasm after a life story like that, it is pretty extraordinary what you've achieved here, isn't it? You must be very proud of it.
Yeah, it's a good end.
Well done you, because a young man so involved and so able to get it to this standard, because I expect somewhere there's some horrendous photographs of what it looked like when it came out of them. So well done. Thank you so much for being here this weekend. Brilliant. Hello, sir. May I ask you about your wonderful Spoden lorry? He's very heavily involved here.